Hey, welcome to Grandpa Sees the Blinking. Please don't take anything Grandpa says as financial advice. Grandpa's not a financial planner. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so what are we going to go through here today in Tesla? Well, we're going to cover pivot points. And Grandpa's going to explain the importance of pivot points to you. And I don't think I've ever done that before. Probably should have, but I didn't. Uh, and we're going to talk about the indexes, the dominant trend, which is your friend. The dominant trend is your friend. We're going to talk about divergence, and boy, do we got divergence. Um, Upside resistance, downside support, the near range, the far range, and of course the opening price for Monday. So let's get at it here. Okay, we had a high today in Tesla of during regular hours of 223.34. We had a low of 214.38. Remember that number, 214.38. It might be important. Closed at 217.80, and we had a range from high to low today of $8.96. If Grandpa's figures are correct, we currently have a buy signal in the 15-minute chart after hours. So, okay, let's see. Indexes. The indexes, the S&P and NASDAQ, are both up a little bit. However, Tesla underperformed massively, down almost 9% for the day. And let's see. Oh, last night during the Tesla Day, Robotaxi Day meeting, which started an hour late, and at 11 p.m. Eastern Time is when they actually got it going. Anyway, it only lasted no more than 30 minutes, I don't believe. And during that time, it bounced up about $11, almost to 251. And it was up at 251 for approximately 10 minutes. And when the meeting was over, I didn't even realize it was over. When the meeting, couldn't have sold my shares anyway in the middle of the night, but somebody sure could sell shares. I don't know who they are, because I think the Chinese start at 4 a.m., so I don't know who's able to trade at that time of day. If you're with Mumu, you can start trading at 4 a.m., but that wouldn't have saved you at anyway, about 11:45, I believe, p.m., within 5 minutes of the time they stopped that live stream for their event, Tesla went down $21 in 5 minutes from 251. She dropped, and it continued to drop at 4 a.m. and so on. So anyway, so now let's talk a little bit about the dominant trend. The trend is your friend. And the mistake that Grandpa made. Grandpa made a mistake. This is the daily chart. Each candle is 1 day. 1 day, okay? And I want to point something out to you. We have lost the dominant trend. The dominant trend was up for about 22 days. And here we lost the dominant trend, okay? And that would have been bad enough, the 242 area, knowing that you've lost the dominant trend, and so you're just fighting it. You know, you could have got out again in the 250 area. Grandpa had that opportunity to even make money and didn't do it. Because why? Well, I was only up $250 and Grandpa wanted 300, so I didn't sell. The other mistake Grandpa made was I was going long against the dominant trend, and I knew that the dominant trend was down. The trend is your friend. When the dominant trend is up, you go up. When the dominant trend is down, you buy down. You go short. And so Grandpa thought he was smart enough to go against the grain a little bit, and I got caught, and I'm not happy. So remember the dominant trend. Okay, Clutch Cargo's leaving a message. Remember, what goes up must come down. Therefore, conversely, what goes down must come up. Yes, that's true, Clutch. I like that, Clutch. He's over there in LaGrange, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. Okay, so getting back to the dominant trend. The dominant trend is your friend. If you want trouble in your life, do what Grandpa did and go against the dominant trend. I kept hoping for a green candle, which would have given us a reversal, and we didn't get one, obviously. So remember, the dominant trend is your friend. And I'm going to stay on this chart because there's some stuff I need to tell you about pivot points coming up here. But right now, divergence. Do we got divergence? This is probably one of the biggest divergences that I remember. We have lower prices on higher volume. 57 million more shares. 57 million more shares were bought today than yesterday. And we had divergence to the upside yesterday also, to the tune of about 13 million. So totally right now we have about 70 million, 139 million shares changed hands today, bought and sold, and the average is 90.5. This is a warning. It's an early warning. But the warning is that we're going to get a bounce up, not down, according to what Grandpa understands with divergence. And I look at divergence every single day. Grandpa's a divergence person. But sometimes it takes a day or two to play out, okay? I will say that. But I'm expecting a bounce up here for Monday, and I'm going to talk to you about that when we talk pivot points more. Okay, upside resistance. Okay, upside resistance. We have resistance at 227, 224, 225 actually a little bit, but mainly 227, 233 to 234 for your upside resistance for Monday, or for Tuesday or Wednesday. Be looking for them numbers, 233, 234 area, possibly 239 on the top side. And of course we have resistance up at 250. On the downside, we have support down at, of course, 200, 205. They blinked all day at 205 today, down there buying. And it might be in your near future, but I don't think it's going to be in your near future. It's possible on Monday, but I really doubt it. 212 is your dominant trend line resistance. Right here, this white line is the dominant trend. It has been down for 3 years with breaks here and there. when you go above it and have the dominant trend up. In order to maintain the dominant trend, you have to have a buy signal in the daily candle chart, the weekly candle chart, and the monthly candle chart. And I believe we still have, well, let's look at the weekly quick just to make sure that we haven't lost it. Yeah, we still have a buy signal in the weekly with a big red candle here. So we're still under a buy in the weekly. And we're under a buy, I'm quite sure, in the monthly. But the dominant trend is down. Why? Because we lost the daily. You have to have all three of them have to be a buy signal for the dominant trend to be up. And we only have two of them. And here again, that white line's right at 212. That's going to act as major support for us. Can it break it? Absolutely it can break it and go through it. Do I think it's going to on Monday? I don't think so. I think it's going to probably hold us, but that's Grandpa's opinion to some degree. So I'll tell you what I think's going to happen, and you can take it from there. Okay, so what are we going to talk about next? Okay, the near-term range. On the bottom side, 212, 214. On the top side, near in range, 228, 233 area. A little further out range, I still back down to that 212, 215 area, and 239 on the very top. 20, okay, here it is. I got it here. So the further out range would be 206.50 on the bottom side and 228.75 on the top side. Would probably be what I would anticipate for Monday. However, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even possibly, well, I could do it on Monday. I think we might actually close around 228 on Monday. They're going to make us think it's going up before they pull the plug some more. That's what I think. Your fair opening price on Monday, but after I tell you this, the important part is coming. The important part is when I tell you about pivot points. And you are going to want to know this. You need to understand. I should have been telling you about pivot points every day. It's, because Grandpa knows the pivot points. I just never talk about it. But I'm going to, from now on, I'm going to talk about pivot points every day. Okay, the fair opening price for Monday the 14th, which is Columbus Day. However, the markets are open on Columbus Day, so don't panic. The fair opening price is going to be $218.50. Grandpa thought it was going to be $238 this morning. When Grandpa is off on an opening price, it's usually by quite a bit. But I will say, I'm right over 90% of the time, and that's a fact. But when I'm wrong, I'm really wrong. What I calculate? I calculate the fair. What's fair? Okay, and they'll be fair for quite a while, and then all of a sudden they're not fair. So I think we're gonna gap up about 70 cents for Monday opening. During this next week, I think we're going to run in a range predominantly from the 212, 214 area to 234. Matter of fact, I don't think we're going to break the 214 this next week. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think so. I think you're going to see us running in the 214 to 234 area in this next week. And so let's talk pivot points, and I got some stuff I want to show you. It's very important. Okay, what do we got? We had a top pivot point on 8/30/24. 8/30/24 is right, if you can see where my mouse is, it's right at the top of this green candle here, okay, at $265. And Grandpa knew that it was a top pivot point and that we're looking for a bottom pivot point. I knew this on this day when I messed up. So I not only knew the dominant trend was up, talk about going against the grain, I knew that we were looking for a new bottom pivot point. And a pivot point can run you as much as $120 in one direction or the other. Sometimes more than $120. But it can also do $35, $40, $50, and stuff like that. Okay. And where Grandpa was in, I'm $25 down below where the pivot point was, and I'm thinking, I'm pretty close to $30, which happens fairly often. With a pivot point, I'll probably be okay. Well, I wasn't okay. The trend is your friend. Remember that if you're going against the dominant trend, you're going to have, you might luck out a few times, but you can have problems. And the pivot point is extremely important. So right now, what are we doing? We're looking for a new bottom pivot point. Now, when we hit 232 yesterday, I was thinking that was potentially our new pivot point. Well, it wasn't. Now Grandpa's thinking we have a good chance of 214 area being our new pivot point, our bottom pivot point. And once we got that bottom pivot point, then she can run back up to the 250s, the 260s, and so on, okay? But until we establish that bottom pivot point, and by then we'll most likely be getting the switch around in the dominant trend also, okay, should be changing to up at that point. The problem with any of this stuff is even after you get the pivot point, okay, so it can go back against you $15, $20 in the wrong direction because it's a big time signal, okay? And so people, well, here for instance, we got it right here at 265. It went down and it went right back up to 264. $1. Matter of fact, 264, it went within 75 cents of the top pivot point, and then it showed its true colors and went off to the races downward. So, and that's the game they play. So let's see, the previous top pivot point before this one was over on 7 right here with this red candle. 271. Do you remember when we were up at 271? Well, 271 was the top pivot point, and Grandpa knew it. Grandpa knew it by the time that, well, actually, I knew it right here 4 days later. And it went all the way back up to 256 area, okay? And, but Grandpa did a little better on that one. And we literally dropped all the way down to 181.75. We dropped $120, okay? Now, this is important for you. Our low today of 214.38 or 214, on my lines it's 214.45. But anyway, look where I have my mouse, okay? The bottom of this candle here, okay? Look at the bottom of this candle here. Very important, okay? Those candles are just almost identical, okay? What happened after this one? This is why Grandpa thinks this might be our near-term pivot point, but not for much. I'm just talking about getting us up to where we can get out of our position and go down until we find our real bottom pivot point. I do not believe currently that 214.30 or 40 is going to be our bottom pivot point. Here you have, we had Northern Lights last night, Clutch. We're up on the lake here, not Noggin. Yeah, we had frost the other morning too. Let's see. Yeah, we had Northern Lights last night. Grandma was outside singing at the Northern Lights. Okay, so you see this big candle here? You see this big candle here? Watch where my pointer is. And then 1, 2, 3 days, we get ourselves a green candle. We actually get 3 green candles. Okay, bringing us back up to what? 235 area. 234, 235, 233. That is exactly what I expect for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday. Going back and forth in this area, okay? And I just really think, but what happened after that, okay? This is your chance. They want you to think it's going up. This isn't even a buy signal in the daily, okay? It's not a buy signal. If we get a buy signal, that's different. Then the dominant trend is up. But this is, all this is a bull flag, 3-day bull flag, okay? And if we get that again, we're looking for the 290s or 190s, 180s, okay? So Grandpa's going to be doing the pivot points for you now. From now on, when I know we have finally established a bottom pivot point, I might not know for sure for several days after we actually have got it, but I will know. And when I do know, I'm going to tell you from now on. Because why? Because it helps Grandpa remember that it's important. Just like the dominant trend is our friend and it's important. The pivot points are hugely important, and Grandpa does them every day. I think about them and look at them, but I just never thought about putting it on my live stream before. I don't think I've ever put pivot points on my live streams for you guys. But anyway, we're going to do it, and I hope it'll be helpful. So what does Grandpa think? What's Grandpa planning on doing? Well, Grandpa's hoping to snag a few more shares here. Down in, I'm trying to buy the WICK right here. I got some at 217.50, 217, simply because I believe for sure on Monday we're going to hit the 224, 225 at a minimum. And what will Grandpa do? Well, I bought earlier today down here also, and albeit my average is 237.75, but I will take and sell some in the 225 area, rebuy down below whatever, and lower my average down back and forth. But when we get up in the 234, 235 area, Grandpa's planning on bailing out and going short, unless I see something dramatically different in the daily dominant trend or in our pivot point. It is possible that the 214.30 is our bottom pivot point, but I just don't know. Clutch says, oh yeah, that's right. Tesla earnings Wednesday, 10/23. I thought they were doing earnings on the 16th. I'm not too excited about that either. Who knows what it'll come out? Maybe they're making more money than we thought. You know, Clutch is telling me that the earnings are on 10/23. You know, I've heard both. What's coming out on 10/16 then? I've heard 10/23 and 10/16. Not sure. I think Clutch is probably right. Yeah, earnings 10/23. Okay, so that's pivot point talk, and I'm going to cover that each time from now on. So back here on 8/5/24, 271. Or no, 8/5. We went down to which one is which? 8/5 down here, 181. We went down to 181. And on 7/11 we hit the 271. So you're looking at 32 days, not trading days, but just a shade over a month. So about 20 trading days that before we established a bottom pivot point. Once you establish the bottom pivot point, then you're looking for the top pivot point. Right now we have the top pivot point at 265, and we're looking for the bottom pivot point. Where is it? We don't know yet. I don't think it's at 214. I think it could be 205, it could be 197, it could be 180. We just don't know. But we will know within a day or two after it does it. And then we can take the ride the other direction. Just like we can take the ride at the daily if we don't fight the trend, the dominant trend. That's the sounds good. Sounds easy. Is it easy? No. People get stubborn. They don't want to admit if they do something wrong, like Grandpa does occasionally, and that's just the way it is. Okay, hey Clutch, good talking to you, and you be careful over there in Illinois. I'm going to send Grandma out tonight to look at the northern lights again. So, did you get to see some over your area too, or? I imagine you did. Yeah, it's 58 degrees here. It's a heat wave. Okay, so we'll see you on Monday. I'm not going to do any more till Monday morning. I'll be back around right around 9:15 a.m. Just before the open, and we'll do live trading, day trading with Grandpa, and but get your head straight for Monday. Grandpa's planning on dumping some shares, bouncing back and forth the best I can, and got a plan, and that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Fair opening price for Monday is $218.50. I'm expecting to see the 225, 228 on Monday, and 234, 235. I'm out of Dodge and looking to go short. See ya later. Hey, think about eternity. Grandpa does. Bye bye.